can as a dimple. Portuguese kale plants as well. Look, like that. And then you put the seedling into it. Do you think potted plants like these will actually grow quicker in here or outside? Let me know in the comments below. Jeez, it's absolutely roasting in here today. That's not too bad. How are you doing? I'm Martin from Gardens for Life. In this video I'm going to show you when we transplant our seedlings into smaller pots, like half-litre ones. And I'm going to show you when plants like these are ready to be moved out of the greenhouse and when it's no longer beneficial to keep them in here. When I say it's too warm, I'm only messing. Don't turn off the heat, please. It's been lovely for the last couple of days. I even had to open both double doors in the greenhouse. At some point in late spring or early summer, it's just going to be too warm during the day to justify having the plants in here, even if they benefit at night time from not being subjected to such cold temperatures. But I think these plants here need to be moved out because we've got pretty high temperatures in here. For the last 2 or 3 days, it's been about 45 or 50 degrees in here, and I'm just going to leave both double doors open for the time being. Any plants that are not frost hardy are staying in the greenhouse, and any plants that can handle the frost, out you get. We're running a raffle at the moment for these 16 perennial plants. You can get yourself a ticket on our website, and if you want to know what the individual plants are, there is a video on the raffle page. The figs and the goji are loving this heat and they don't mind the old dryness. So for example, we'll just take a look here. There's some plants here like the Jerusalem artichoke, those ones can be moved out. So what I'll just show you is we do grow plants from cuttings like this, but obviously in the greenhouse they're very likely to dry out. Let's go to the potting table. This is it here, and it could do with replacing, and there's still some comfrey plants. So we take a new bag of compost. I wouldn't leave it on the table for too long because it'll dry out. This is seed starting compost, so it's not very fertile, but it will hold the moisture, and that's all you're looking for in a seed starting compost. If it's too fertile, it'll rot the seed. Now you see some of these lumps here, like that. You just break them up. This is lovely stuff to work with though. The Classman stuff from Fruit Hill Farm. Now, so we'll just get a tray. This is great compost and we use it because it's completely sterile. There's no weed seeds in it or anything like that. So it's ideal for starting plants. So of course I don't have one of the new trays, so I'll use an old one. It's a little bit brittle already, you can see here, but I think this one is well over 15 years old. We bought them second-hand some time ago. So we just throw the compost in there. A lot of people will be pushing down on it a little bit too much, I think. You can push down on it, and just to make sure that there is no spaces, because a space would result in a air pruning situation for your newly planted seedling. So we just push them all in, and then we put some more on top and just push it down a little bit. You could also do this and just whack it off the table. Alright, so then what we'll do is we'll just get the dimpler. You could do it with your fingers like that, or you can do them all in one go. So the push out plate is actually meant to be just for putting on the table, and then you see these little holes underneath. You can actually push them all out in one go then with this thing, but also you can use it as a dimple. So we just carefully place it in the right place, depending on how level we are. There you go. That's not bad. Sometimes the hole can be a little bit too deep. We'll just cover it again and redo it. Especially for smaller seeds like Great Mullen, they are tiny. Great Mullen seeds are very small, so we don't need not much depth at all here. So what we'll do is we'll just take a few of them and then just multi-sow them. Don't worry about it if there is like 3 or 4 or 5 seeds in each cell. I mean, sometimes even more than that. There's no harm, because one mullen plant gives you about 100,000 seeds anyway in its 2-year cycle. All the mullens actually are biennials, so they make leaves in the first year and flowers in the second year. And in our gardens we even experienced Great Mullen and Olympic Mullen actually going to seed or going to flower in the first year. Alright, we'll just do this tray real quick. I still had some seeds left over. Alright, so all we have to do now is, we could just rub them in as it is. Actually, that's probably would be enough. Or just give it a little sprinkle with a little bit more compost. And that's it. You don't really need to be like flattening the ground here, because the trouble is, as you're flattening it, you're removing seeds, and the seeds will be spreading all over the place, even within each cell. Alright, so that's it. We'll just water that in and leave it on the table somewhere in the greenhouse. Don't forget the label. I find that only when the seeds come up, it's actually worth checking the label. So let's pretend it's been a few weeks and we have some other plants here. We do have the Olympic mullen over here, already a few weeks ahead, and there's roots underneath. You can see the roots. That means they are pretty much ready to go. I think that they could probably benefit. Let me just pop one out and just have a look at it. That's a pretty nice root structure at this point, so we could actually plant that into a bigger pot. Let's just take it over here. Oh yeah, I want to show you the Portuguese kale plants as well. Look at that. They're doing real good. Look at the roots here. Alright, all we need is a pot, such as this half-litre pot here. Find them a good size because you're not spending too much compost. So we've got the seedling back to the potting table, and you'll notice that there's many plants in it, maybe about 10 plants actually. But that doesn't really matter, they'll still grow and flower fine, and they'll deal with their own spacing. So here's a half-litre pot. We'll gently put some compost into it and not push it down too much, and then simply make a hole like that. And then you put the seedling into it, and you just fill up the sides here a little bit. You do want to try and shake the dirt off it somewhat, but once we start watering it, it'll be fine. So this is actually a comfrey plant, about 3 weeks old, and take a look at this. The roots are already coming out of the bottom. We'll try and gently pry it out, and look at that. We've got roots. This might as well be planted out or even put outside. There is no advantage to having these plants indoors anymore. They'll only dry out much quicker in the greenhouse. The main reason why I was keeping plants in here actually during the springtime was just because our nights are getting quite cold here. It was actually going down to 0 and -1. And plants don't really grow very well when it gets down below 5 degrees or even 10. Normally we'd only start seeds in the greenhouse because they need about 20 to 25 degrees Celsius. And a lot of plants like the hops here, for example, does need quite a high temperature just to get started. A lot of these plants here don't really need to be in the greenhouse anymore. Like the comfrey, some of the willows and the kale, and more comfrey. We've got some Mount Asa willow here. Even this Daubenton kale rooting, I don't think it needs to be in here anymore. I think just the daytime temperatures are unnecessarily high for rooting cuttings. But once they have roots and leaves especially, they'll benefit from being in here. I think the plants, generally speaking, will root quicker at room temperature if you can achieve it for them. And these fellas here, this is hops. I'm keeping them in here because they're so special to me. I'd like to finally grow hops successfully. I haven't grown much of it before, but hopefully we can have it as part of all of our forest gardens. It's getting exciting now. This is the yarrow coming up, and we're definitely going to have valerian. The Louisiana sage is sparse, and the rhubarb even worse. There's Glaskins now. We've got lots of marshmallows coming up, so we're definitely going to have those this year. And let's see here, garlic chives, Portuguese kale is doing really well, Olympic mullen. Elecampane is actually coming up. It's a new flower that we're growing this year, Lemon balm, not the most successful this year. And evening primrose hasn't got there yet. What else is there? Solidago, golden baby. I believe that is the goldenrod. We've got cowslip planted. We got hops coming up and lungwort. So a lot of these are native plants. So you can plant your own weeds in the garden. Weeds that are actually useful in many ways to you and the insects. This is Apios. Those definitely need to be planted because they're starting to use each other as a scaffolding. If you remember, I actually made a video about this greenhouse being super dry before. Look at this, it's pure dust. It's the driest place in County Roscommon, I tell you. Look at the dust. And I'm actually rehydrating it slowly now, just by putting my plants down on the ground anywhere there isn't a plant in between them, and simply watering the plants that I'm putting down. So then the excess water drips down into the ground and slowly hydrates the compost that's been put in here some years ago. Clearly hasn't been watered enough, but the figs are doing really well. So again, here we've got moth mullein actually, and some poppies, and we've got some Jacob's leather and some other flowers here. But anyway, lots of comfrey plants growing. Get them while you can. So out the back of the greenhouse, I just moved some plastic here. I'm going to try and cover this area here, and I've got a table as well, ready to go to move plants onto. There's another table here, and a lot of them, I have them in trays just so they don't fall through the gaps in the pallets. Half as much watering, and they do quite well, and they have direct sunlight. I'm sure the polythene would actually filter some of the UV. I grow less and less plants in pots actually. Only got a few flaming willows here, but eventually the plant's gonna deplete what compost is in the pot. Let me just show you here. So you can see it has used up all the space, and it can stay in the pot for another while, but it needs watering, and it's not going to do too well. It's not going to grow much bigger like that until it's planted out. Alright, that's them all for now. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any questions below in the comments, and also let me know if there's any particular plants that you'd like me to grow this year. We've got some Szechuan pepper on the go as well. I think I've got about 20 of those started. And tree seeds are, generally speaking, a little bit harder to start because they need to have a stratification period, like simulating the winter. I usually don't get those into the fridge early enough in the winter before it's time to plant them, because it takes 3 months actually to stratify seeds. Anyway, we'll see you later, and please like and subscribe. And if you'd like to support us, you can buy something on our online shop or become a member. See you later. Thank you. Bye.